What is going on, everyone? Badger here. Sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. This is a story that I'm actually surprised hasn't come sooner. Of course, we're going to be talking about the aftermath at this point, or the results of all those comments from Peter Dinklage in 2022 about essentially pulling up the ladder behind him. And well, there's a reframing of it here that we will have. But we got here actress Terra Jolé. It's got that little thing above it. So I think that means instead of Joel, it's Jolé. Terra Jolé blasts Disney over Snow White and reveals Apple Plus originally planned to cast dwarves for Time Bandits, but changed course after Peter Dinklage criticized Snow White. And if you don't know who Terra Jolé is, she's from the Little Women series of reality TV shows. And she reveals, of course, that Apple TV, after that thing, and here it is. Here is, and this got a lot of flack from other people of stature, shall we say, or lack thereof. Short people. Midgets, before that became a derogatory term. I still think we should go back to that. Plain, simple language, not this euphemistic stuff that has become so grotesque. But in 2022, Dinklage appeared on the What the Fuck with Mark Maron podcast, where he criticized the Walt Disney Company for their upcoming live-action Snow White film, where, of course, doesn't actually have midgets in it. It has those grotesque CGI things. Said at the time, well, you know, it's really progressive to cast literally, no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback that they're very proud to call a Latina actress as Snow White, but you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. So, and again, in this case, dwarves aren't midgets. Dwarves aren't little people. Dwarves are mythical fucking creatures that lives in the woods. They happen to be played by little people because, well, that's the easiest practical way to do it. And now Peter should know that, but he's busy being a disingenuous fuck after he made all the money from Game of Thrones. So now he can pull that ladder up behind him and take all the other roles from all the people that haven't played a drunken asshole on TV before. I played a drunken asshole before, but I did it for the cost of my own booze and in public. Take a step back and look at what you're doing there, he continued. It makes no sense to me because you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of the seven dwarfs living in a cave, forest, and a rather nice cabin. What the fuck are you doing, man? So he complained basically that if you're telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarves, that is somehow backward and prejudiced against little people, even though we've already explained dwarves and little people not the same, and even dwarvism and certain forms of this not the same. If you wanted to go that way, like the actual case of dwarfism, not the same as the dwarves in mythical, Gimli. Have I done? And this is the last thing he said. Have I done nothing to advance the cause from my soapbox? No, so I guess his theory is because he played a well-written little person who was written that way in the goddamn book to begin with, that now any role that would call for a little person to play a classic role like that, Oompa Loompas, I get it, but still, they don't get work anymore. Congratulations, Peter. He then concluded, I don't know what studio that is, but they were so proud of that, and all the love and respect to the actress and to the people who thought that he was drunk at the time. That's why he doesn't remember it. What are you doing? Later in the podcast, he added, if you tell the story of Snow White and it's the most fucked up, cool, progressive spin on it, let's do it all in all. But what's the most fucked up, cool, progressive spin on it? Snow White is the dwarf and it's like the Snow White and the Seven Giants. Get the fuck out of here. So here is enter Jolé, who details that this basically cost her work. She said, I'm done keeping my mouth shut. By the way, there's a video I was going to react to this, but it's like an 11-minute video. So we're just going to go through some of the highlights of what she said. But I really hope that we get more little people, people of stature or lack thereof, coming out and just like, hey, dude, you took money out of our pockets, food off our table. You cost us work and exposure that might have gotten us larger roles. No pun intended. I'm done keeping my mouth shut. Get ready with me as we discuss everything Time Bandits, the series, the movie, and Disney. Imagine my excitement when I got a direct call from the casting director stating that they wanted me to personally audition. I'm not going to read the whole thing. So she got a personal call from the casting director asking for her, giving her information. I think there was a coof things, and she went through all of that. She said, but Joe and I both agreed that if I got it, we would go and support him. And if I got it, I would go and he would support me, and we would take the entire family. Not only did we make sure that Joe's passport and my passport were up to date, but so they got everything up to date only for my team contacted their team, and all of a sudden, with no explanation whatsoever, they stated they're going in a different direction. I was heartbroken. Not only were they going in a different direction for me, but they were going in a different direction for Joe as well. At the end of the day, all I thought was, this is going to be a really great opportunity for little people, instead of that one little person gets every single role out there, i.e. Peter Dinklage. So while he's busy, everyone else is secretly resenting him, because if there's a little person, Peter gets it. Just like if there's an Asian person, it's either Everything Everywhere All at Once and The Mandalorian, Chung-Li, Street Fighter. I thought, no way. There's no way that they were affected by this whole Peter Dinklage thing. Allegedly, Peter Dinklage has had a lot of effect on this industry when it comes to little people. Instead of helping little people get more entertainment jobs, he has done the exact opposite. That's what we were talking about, pulling the ladder up behind you. Then she addressed, of course, the executive producer and director Taika Waititi, saying that he did not believe that the show should be defined because of the presence of little people in it. She responded, why have little people at all? You're telling me that you're going to give other people, little people, background or minimal roles just so that you can make it all seem like it's still the same kind of movie. And as an example, if you don't think it's inappropriate to have the main characters as a little person, you decided to put a cherub. That's right. The character name is Cherub. Dane Newman, who is the Time Bandits, the Cherub. Oh, God, so fucking just a grotesque. It's more like that euphemistic language. Just ripped him apart here. You can see she addressed comments by the show's co-writer Jermaine Clement, who informed the Associated Press that he wrestled with whether it's right to stereotype little people as magical creatures. Oh my God, you're not stereotyping them. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So you just don't get to work. She said that those comments made her skin crawl. For him to state that, it made me feel like, well, if dwarves are popular in the first season, then we're going to give them a bigger bone in the second season, and we'll make them a bigger part just because they felt guilty. Newsflash, they were the bigger part. They were. And she just goes on to say that this ain't the way. This ain't the way. She said the industry states that they are now more inclusive, but I tend to disagree. Even when it comes down to something as simple as standing in, that used to be how we would survive when we weren't doing other mainstream jobs, stand-in work. So when the main actor wasn't there, they'd have someone standing there for blocking and framing purposes. And now they have average-sized people just standing on their knees for children. That's a whole new story. Oh, right. They can't play roles that kids used to. From there, she returned to Time Bandits and questioned what Terry Gilliam, the original director, thinks about the show. I wonder what his thoughts are. Basically, do you think that they were forced to do this, or it was their choice? She ended it saying, I was hurt by being discriminated with an average-sized person. The disability community is just as important as other communities. Well, shit. If you believe the stories we talk about, that the disability community is 10 times more important than everyone else. So, but I know what she meant. And in this case, it's you took a solid acting griff, for lack of a better term. There were roles that could play stand-ins, stunt acting for kids, other things like that. And now, while pushing progressivism, instead of actually being inclusive and representative and having little people play these roles and thinking everyone is emotionally intelligent enough to understand that they're not really fucking magical dwarves, now they get no roles. So thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter, for pulling that ladder up behind. The crab pull, the reverse crab pull. Anyway, let me know what you think of this. Make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you.
Well, bye.